I haven't had too many fires on this trip, so I enjoy them when I've had them. Yeah, the wood's actually pretty scarce in places. There's a bit of wood previous occupants have left behind, and I gathered a bit more. I never get any morning sun because I'm always packed up ready to go before the sun actually comes up. I don't get any effect from an easterly, so I'm better off picking a spot that's got that northern outlook with the westerly sun like today. Dry everything out, warm up a bit. Shut your back. Bloody wild weather. Oh, there you go. There. This was day one. I would have packed up my home, I think. And I'm shagged. Back on pack. How are you? Alright, so?
How far are you going?
I'm going to the coast.
Are you?
Yeah.
Good effort.
Started 7 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
How many kilometres is it?
Oh, I've done 2,000.
Whoa!
Got 300 to go.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. The interest in my river journey from those observing from the shore, from those observing from afar, goes a long way to bolstering my motivation. While the journey is very much a personal endeavour, my actions, my thoughts, my presence on the river, it does influence others, be it at home, where my absence is felt in the day-to-day function of household and family living, or in this instance, observed and engaged by Dad and his young family through throwing stones from the shore, possibly wondering how crazy, yet also possibly wondering how motivating such a journey may be. So, while I'm playing Tetris with the Morgan ferry, slipping through while it's on the port side, I'm confronted by a major shift in the river's passage. For it is at Morgan, the River Murray changes its course. What has been predominantly northwest passage now swings southwest to south and comes under the influence of the notorious southwest winds. Blowing in from the coast, the winds are said to at times raise the water level at Morgan by up to a foot as the stiff southwesters hold the water back or push the water back uphill. Having been offered a landing on private property about 14k downstream of Morgan, I pushed on past the very inviting Morgan Caravan Park. They say it's not what you know but who. In this case, a colleague of my brother's is a good friend with a fellow who owns a river frontage and has offered it up for the night. So, with my treats purchased from the Morgan Bakery, I settle in for a most comfortable evening. Thanks, Wayne. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Big Brother. a significant milestone in its own right, I slipped through Lock 1 at Blanchetown almost unnoticed. No fanfare, no ticket parade, and rightly so, for now I had free-flowing water to the end of the river. And as I would learn, some of the toughest paddling conditions awaited me. Pulling ashore for the night, another momentous paddling day behind me, I once again am confronted by ambiguous signs, private property or public land uncertainty. I deliberate, scope out my options, balance the pros and cons, adjust, regroup, deliberate and procrastinate, move slightly downstream and do it all again, and settle in on a solution. I'm not paddling any further today, so this will do me, and of course, it was all fine. Swan Reach. I got to know the place pretty well. I was laid up for a couple of days while the wind blew. And did it blow. The lower section of the River Murray is synonymous with the towering limestone cliffs. They reach for miles, sometimes on the left bank, sometimes on the right bank, sometimes set way back from the river bank, where a new channel has been cut, abandoning the cliffs altogether. Home to abundant wildlife, the cliffs can provide a refuge from the ever-present winds, or they can act as a bouncing board and push the wind straight back across the river, or funnel the winds along the river. Yes, they were most picturesque, but they were also a challenge. The winds were now a constant, gathering momentum and increasing in intensity. I needed to shelter behind the lee bank, if one existed, or stay exposed and grind it out. I would calculate the optimum time to switch from one side of the river to the other, trying to minimise my exposure to the full onslaught. Where possible, I'd take a breather in shelter, I'd have a drink, have a much-deserved jelly snake or three, and if the time of the day was right for smoko, I'd indulge in a Carmen's chocolate-coated blueberry cereal bar. I'd bob around like a cork at times, just out of the tempest. Once refuelled, and if possible, re-inspired, I'd poke my nose out, test the veracity, and with no option, of course, push on. Despite the hardship, the glow of the cliffs, the mood of the sky, I was, for better or worse, still out of my depth. Still on the upper limits of my capability. However, I was still besotted by the experience. breach coming up, and I'm hoping it'll give me some reprieve. At the moment, it's just bloody hard work. Easing up. This is actually sheltered here. I'll call for assistance and get a ride. Skip this stage, so now my water's flat. All goes to plan. Friday it's went to abate a bit. Saturday's even better. So one of those 2 days, paddle from Nanham to Murray Bridge, which is where I was going to finish anyway, under the circumstances of transport, logistics. Yeah, just blew its ring off all night. Someone up here advised me that the sprinklers will come on at 4 o'clock. I've just camped in a little reserve here. Big signs, do not camp, no tent pegs, blah blah blah. Someone said, oh, the sprinklers will come on at 4 o'clock. So I found one, so I covered it over, put my canoe on it, kayak on it. Sure enough, 4 o'clock fired up and moved my boat. The wet tent got wet. I wasn't wet inside, so just another wet night. I didn't sleep. Wild, the wind blew all night. I was pretty sheltered here. It was almost blowing across the tops. So I had to make the call this morning. I needed the full day to get to the next spot. It's about 40 k's and I needed all day. 5 o'clock when the alarm went off, it was blowing the ring off. So I had to make the call either yes or no, and I couldn't have gone. So I looked at the forecast and it was actually going to peak at midday, so it's getting worse before it gets better. And there's a lot of southern trend on this bit of river. Anyway, I had to eat a big bit of humble pie and ring up and call for assistance, which was awesome. People were prepared to come and give me a hand. Shout out to Stuart and Wayne, both offered to help. They're both helping in different ways. So I load up my boat and just wander up. I think there's a roadhouse or something just up the road here, so I'll go and out up there, try and get some sort of protection from the wind. Now they've taken my tent down, I've got no protection, can't hide in the dunny I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, I guess it's all part of it. I'll look back on it one day and, you know, part of the adventure. Might be able to do this little section at late another day. That'd be good. Oh well, let's get into it. So is this what it's all come to? The end of this leg of the journey. 2,037 kilometres, 48 days paddling, handful of rest days, 330 odd hours of paddling. I think it works out at probably, based on some calculations I did along the river, it's shy of 1.5 million strokes, paddle strokes. A few days ago I felt like I did half of that and got nowhere. So I've had to pull up time and the weather. Weather was obviously the foe in the end. I just lost a couple of days, important days. I couldn't paddle. The wind was blowing me backwards. It was unsafe. I suspect I was getting hypothermic. I needed to get to certain points each day to be confident of a secure campsite. And at the end of the day, old mate COVID really did get in the way, shut the borders down. So logistically, got a bit tough actually. What was in place to start with couldn't come to fruition. Had to change lots of things, which meant booking in arrangements, travel arrangements, specific dates, had to pay for them when you book in. So then you're committed. So I was really tied then to meeting certain deadlines. And that probably wasn't one of the intentions of the trip, but it's reality, isn't it? So anyway, one of those deadlines is here. I've got to catch a train day after tomorrow, and in order to do that I've got to get to certain places and certain times, and I've got to deal with my gear. I can't take my canoe, my kayak on a train. So yeah, I've got to deal with that. So I've got some great folks locally here that are helping me out, putting me up actually, feeding me, watering me, accommodating me. Probably one thing that I've learnt from the river, that generally people are pretty bloody good. Some great people out there. So it's been traumatic at times, this trip. I've had my challenges, not just the paddling. I mean, that's just a physical thing, you know. The first few weeks I was as sore as buggery. Could hardly move overnight, couldn't lay on my shoulders, couldn't lay on my back. The last few weeks, pull up at the end of the day and it was fine. No soreness, no aches and pains. It just shows that, yeah, you get used to it, work through it. But yeah, I guess one of the challenges was, yeah, being on my own. You've got to make every decision, not bouncing things off other people, limited contribution from others to suggestions of how to deal with things. And that's good. That's nothing wrong with being reliant on your own decisions. It's good. I think it's helped me. Certainly given me more confidence. Not that I was unconfident. Not that I was unconfident. Inconfident. Not that I was not confident. Yeah, 2,000 Ks. I'm pretty bloody stoked with that actually. No, not pretty bloody stoked. I am stoked. It's fantastic. I hadn't paddled. Less than 12 months ago, I'd never paddled. It's not something I've done all my life and had aspirations to paddle down the Murray River. 12 months ago we had a trip and I thought, wow, what a great thing to do. Let's paddle the river. Well, in fact, I didn't even say let's paddle the river. Let's travel down the river. One thing led to another. I got home from the trip, went and bought a kayak, started doing some training, and less than 12 months. Less than 12 months. And here I have just paddled 2,000 K down the river. There's a bit to go. I'm not at the end of the river. There's another couple of... from here, about 100 Ks to the end of the river at Wellington, or the end of the channel. From there the water
flows out into the lakes, Lake Alexandrina. What I might do, because I've got to leave my boat in storage here, some great floats, so I'm going to come back in a couple of months, pick up my boat, have the family with me, we'll start and we'll paddle down, spend 3 or 4 days paddling to the end of the river. Why? Because it's there to do. I don't feel like I've got unfinished business if I never got back to it. It doesn't bother me. What I'm overjoyed about, what I'm ecstatic about, is the fact that I've just paddled in excess of 2,000 kilometres along the Murray River. How cool is that?